Hi, good afternoon, and welcome back to First Alert Weather Plus. So today's topic is about something a little creepy and crawly. We're talking about cicadas and how they're coming back this spring, and they're coming back in the billions. Yes, the billions. We have two different types of cicadas that are going to be emerging this spring, and Middle Tennessee is actually going to be hit pretty hard with them. So let's dive right down into it. You can see here in this video, they're not the most pleasant things, but they're actually very harmless to humans. The only thing is they do leave behind their carcass in a lot of places, on the ground, on trees, things like that. But this spring, two different types of cicadas are going to be emerging. One type that comes out of the ground every 13 years. The other comes out every 17 years. They kind of come out in cycles. They live underground, they feed on tree roots, and they really only come out every longer than decade or so to mate. And they find a mate and they go back underground, and we don't see them again for a long, long time. So this is going to be a synchronized event this year for the 2024 spring season. This only happens every 2 centuries or so. The last time this happened was in 1803 when both types of cicada, we call them brood 13 and brood 17, they're both coming out at the same time. So billions of these winged insects will make an appearance across the Midwest and the Southeast. Some of them could be coming out as early as late April. Some of them coming out typically around mid-May to early June, and then some even stick around through the month of July as well. So a good chunk of our summer, and you really can't miss them. Aside from them looking like this, they also have a very distinct sound. If you're from the South, you probably, and you've grown up here, you probably heard it before. It's a very kind of high-pitched, buzzing, chirping type noise. It'll be very hard to miss. You'll definitely hear it this spring and summer, especially since there's so many that will be emerging from the ground. Again, they'll stick around through July. Cicadas typically come out when the temperature gets to be somewhere around 64 degrees. So the soil temperature and the air temperature have to be a little bit warm for them, and they come out to mate, as I mentioned. So they'll come out, they'll find a mate, and they'll go back underground. I haven't seen this happen since I believe I was like maybe in college. I went to college in Mississippi, and they were very prominent in North Mississippi, where I went to Ole Miss. And Middle Tennessee is really no stranger to them either. I grew up in West Tennessee. They're actually not as prominent in West Tennessee as they are in Middle and South Tennessee. A little bit further in East Tennessee, a few of them, but into the Midwest as well. As far as regionally goes, they take over the state of Illinois. Alabama and Mississippi get hit hard with them, and then some portions of Tennessee, maybe a few spots in Kentucky will see some of these as well. So again, these are cicadas. If you're new here to the Nashville area or just to the South in general, yeah, these bugs only make an appearance every 13 or 17 years. They're called periodical insects for that very reason. Again, as I mentioned, they spend most of their lives underground. They feed on tree roots. That's how they live and they survive, and they live underground in the darkness. After 13 or 17 years, depending on which type of cicada it is, they will emerge. They tunnel up to the surface, they reach their maturity, and they begin a month-long mating season. So kind of interesting life here of this particular insect. And again, that mating season, it can be very loud. I mentioned to you it's kind of like a high-pitched buzzing noise. They're known for that sound, and you really can't miss it. Again, while most of Tennessee is likely to see or at least hear them, it appears that Middle Tennessee is going to see the most, and that's actually according to Cicada Safari. This is a website that really just typically kind of tracks the life cycles and the patterns of cicadas. They document when they last came out, when they'll come out again, and this particular site says that Middle Tennessee in general should see a lot of these. So going to be pretty interesting for us. As I mentioned, some of them could come out as early as late April. Typically, they start to emerge around mid-May. So once the temperatures start getting warmer, they'll come out sometime between mid-May to about mid-June. But there have been some that last around as long as about July or so. I know they're kind of scary looking, but they're harmless to humans. They're just kind of big and nasty with those red eyes. They won't do you any harm, but they are big. They're big bugs. And as I mentioned, they shed their skin. They shed their carcass. It is left behind, and you'll see them, especially once they all come out at once. You'll probably see these, especially if you like to be outside, in trees, on the ground, maybe even around your house as well. Again, harmless, but just something to watch out for. This is quite literally a once-in-a-lifetime event when both of these types of cicadas make their way up into the soil, out into the world again after being underground. The last time that these types of cicadas emerged at the same time, it was 1803. A long, long time ago. Experts say it won't happen again for another 221 years. So yeah, quite literally a once-in-a-lifetime event. Something kind of cool to see. Now, even though cicadas do come out, as I mentioned, every 13 or every 17 years, this is the one time that both kinds of cicadas will come out at the same time. So it's definitely, it's going to be a noisier spring and summer for us for sure. And hey, if you can snap pictures of them, you can get great videos of them. We love to see them. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking about this a lot as we get closer into those spring and summer months. But for First Alert Weather Plus, I thought it was a great thing to talk about, especially since this is going to be a big talker for a lot of the country as we head into those warmer months ahead. And hey, you know what? It's been such a warm season. We might even see a lot of these coming in early. We've already had temperatures in the 60s here in February. We might see them coming out a little bit earlier in April. So who knows? But again, big weather news, big talker for these billions of cicadas that will emerge. The 13-year cycle and 17-year cycle cicadas coming out at the same time this spring. So it's definitely going to be a sight to see. Won't happen again for another 221 years. All right, that'll do it for us on First Alert Weather Plus. We'll, of course, be keeping you updated on the cicada news as we get closer to time. We're also keeping you updated on all things weather over on our WSMV4 weather app. It's a First Alert app, free download to your phone. If you ever have any story ideas you would like us to cover here in our First Alert Weather Plus segment, you can always shoot us a story idea. You can email me at melanie.layden@wsmv.com or submit it on our First Alert Weather app as well. In the meantime, have a great day, and we'll keep you updated on our First Alert Weather Day coming up on Wednesday. That'll be starting on WSMV 4 at 3 o'clock. Hope you can tune in then.